Spirits rev me up. I just have to get started.
You're ready to go.
Now, I saw that somebody had a question about a little lovebird. And before we got on here today, I just got a text from a dear friend who unfortunately is taking her dog to the vet tonight for the dog to be released to spirit. And this is one of the most difficult and challenging things for us to do as loving pet owners. So I'm assuming that you're talking about, what's that?
Nothing.
So I'm assuming that Beverly is talking about a little lovebird, like a pet lovebird, when she asks what he died from. And what the sense that I was getting, even though we won't be necessarily answering specific questions like this in the chat, but as I was sitting here meditating before I saw that question, I had the sense of a bird who passed due to an intestinal blockage, that kind of thing. So, so Beverly, I don't know if that's indeed the case with your little one, but that was the sense I had of a pet bird that passed with a blockage. So something that was eaten and everything couldn't pass through. And also, while we're sitting here waiting, I thought I could talk a little bit about the elephant in the room, the coronavirus. Is that okay with you, Judy? Are we still waiting?
I think we're all ready to go. We're live streaming onto YouTube. So
great. Then why don't you do the introductions, and
yeah,
I'll just sit
go
back.
ahead and welcome people. So okay. So we're ready now. Good evening. Welcome to this evening's presentation. My name is Judy Kitt, and I'm the current president of the Foundation for Mind Being Research, or FMBR. I know that some of you are new to us, so I just wanted to let you know that we were founded in 1980 by scientists and artists and healers who were interested in exploring the nature of human consciousness through the lens of science, spirituality, and ancient wisdom traditions. One of our favorite quotes is from Albert Einstein, who said, "You can't solve a problem from the same level of consciousness that created it." And so for the last 40 years, we've been working to expand the context within which we see ourselves as individuals and as a species, and really as part of the whole that is the universe as we know it. We believe that as more and more of us begin to see ourselves differently, as connected, new possibilities arise, including solutions to the challenges we face as a result of believing that we're separate. And that's part of what this presentation is about tonight as well. So I encourage you to check us out at fmbr.org. So just some logistics before we start. We usually do our meetings as a webinar in which you'd only see the moderator and the speaker. Tonight we're doing a meeting with 100 people on your screen because Hollister wants to be able to interact with you, which is wonderful. I would like to recommend that you click on the top right-hand corner of your screen, click on speaker view. So you'll get to see her and then the slides that she has to present as well, instead of seeing her as the little tiny thumbnail. During the event, some audience members will receive messages from loved ones in the spirit world. There will be time to ask general questions about mediumship and what life is like on the other side. I want to let you know I've gotten a few questions already earlier, but most were of a personal nature. And, you know, Hollister may or may not be able to answer those. I just want to let you know. If you have personal questions, it would be good to contact Hollister and set up a private session, or join one of her spirit circles, which are amazing. I highly recommend them. And her website is hollisterrand.com. You can ask questions by tapping them in the chat, and Hollister's assistant will be monitoring those and will be, and Hollister will be monitoring them as well. And if you're watching the live stream on YouTube, you can type your questions into the comment section, and Mary and I will be monitoring them and asking them for you. And so now, logistics done. Hollister, I guess most of you are familiar with Hollister and her work, but in case there are any here who are here for the first time, I'll let you know that Hollister is an internationally renowned medium, author, and speaker. She's appeared on multiple TV and radio programs and now Zoom conferences. Hollister was our last speaker, our last in-person speaker before everything shut down. And if you were at that meeting on February 28th, you've already experienced, the clarity and the humor and the compassion with which Hollister brings forth the information she receives. And after her talk, she did a spirit circle at my house, and we started talking about how we might be able to partner with those on the other side to help find solutions to the challenges we're facing as a species. And I know there are people who are pursuing that. There are people in FMBR who are pursuing that, who are actively working towards those ends. Hollister assured me that in addition to bringing messages of healing and comfort to people, there are many folks on the other side in the spirit world who are wanting to help us. So Hollister, I want to welcome you. Thank you for being here and invite you just to take it away.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you all for joining us here today. The way the spirits work with me in a group like this, you all sort of look like Hollywood Squares a little bit. I don't know if any of you remember that program, but the spirits move me through the group as though I'm looking at a television screen. And sometimes the spirits will stand in your little square and I'll see them behind you, or I'll be looking at you and they'll pop up around my laptop. So we're talking about partnering with spirits. The spirits are ahead of the game when it comes to technology. I mean, they are ready for they're better at this than we are. Because I'm sure some of you have had hellos from spirits that have been electrical in nature, and the lights flashing on and off, that kind of thing. But now we are seeing phone calls, texts, all sorts of electronic devices being used by the spirits to speak to us. So I assure you, they are here right now with us. And I would like to start with a blessing on our time together and bringing us all in one place at one frequency, because that is where we will be with the spirits. Even though our bodies are in different places, we can be joined at a frequency. Dear friends and relatives in spirit and guides who are here helping us to do this work today, for I know we don't do it alone. Thank you so much for this time together. I ask a blessing upon it. I ask that you would use all of my abilities to see, hear, smell, taste, and feel, so that I might give as clear a message to as many people here today as possible. We do ask that you would join us together with you at the frequency of love, that we would be in that space where hopeful and helpful messages are presented. Thank you so much for being here, and so be it. So although I won't be able to speak with every single person here today personally and give you each a specific message, I would ask that you listen to every single message that's given here today, because the spirits decide who I will be speaking with. And they will do that based on how the messages will reach as many people as possible. So I just want you to know, I don't choose people because I like the banister behind them, like Nina. That's really great, because Nina, I've been looking to redo my stairway and I am loving that banister, but you see, that doesn't take me to her spirit. Or Robin, you have a great bookcase behind you with all sorts of stuff on it. I'm like, ooh, that's interesting, but that doesn't take me. The spirits bring me to people. So I just want you to know that is what takes me. They will catch my eye. But what I want you to know is that your loved ones are with you, even if I don't speak specifically with you. So if you could pause for a minute here with me and just say, my loved ones are with me. My loved ones are with me. Because this way you will also hear echoes of messages that they would like to give you, even if I'm not speaking with you. So that this way you know that you haven't been abandoned by the people that you love. Because I will get emails after events like this saying, well, I guess my mother just didn't want to stop in here tonight. That is not how it is. Your people are with you. And hopefully some of them will make themselves seen to me. Um, I have a book that has just come out called Everything You Wanted to Know About the Afterlife, but Were Afraid to Ask. And it came out May 8th. And my assistant, Claire, said, this is like the worst time for you to release a book. And I said to her, this is actually the best time to release this book. Nowhere in my memory has there been a time when everyone is dealing with grief in some way, whether it's grief for a sense of normality, whether it is grief for losing someone that we love, whether it's grief around a career that may be stalled. Everyone here is looking at life being different in some way. So how might the spirits help us? And, people keep asking me, Hollister, did you see COVID coming? And I was like, well, Bill Gates saw it coming. Maybe he didn't call it COVID-19, but a lot of people knew that we would be dealing with a pandemic in our history, because in 1918, we certainly had a pandemic. And I found out from my father that I had an uncle named Emil who died in the 1918 pandemic. And so I have been asking Emil to be present with me, to help me as I am navigating this new world and how to function in it. And when I was thinking about coronavirus and how the spirits will help us move through it, I was also reading my book as an audio book. So I had the producer on the line as I was reading the book, and I got to the question number 36. What is the difference between guides and angels? And I got to this part of the answer. I am seeing angels with ever increasing and somewhat stunning frequency. This may be because there are serious threats to life on our planet. I got to that line and I had to stop reading because I got so choked up and I started to cry. And I thought, I don't even remember writing that. I don't remember having that thought as I was answering the question, but I had been seeing angels for 4 or 5 years, more and more and more, getting these messages that they were here to help protect us, to help us move through danger. So I had to stop reading, but then the next day I came back and continued. However, these are also times of great connectivity, with momentous opportunities for change and transformation, both personal and global. So one of the things the spirits have shown me about coronavirus is that this, like any other awful thing, it is also an opportunity for personal and global transformation. And the spirits are indeed part of that. We may even hear from people who have passed recently. We'll see who shows up here tonight. But as the evening goes on, I'll let you in on some of the messages that I have received from people who have passed with coronavirus. It's been surprising for me what I have learned. And feel free to type your messages, your general questions about life, death, and the afterlife in the chat box. Judy, there's a Judy Hobart. Can you wave? Hello, hello, hello. So Judy, I would like to come to you if that's all right with you.
Yes.
And I really do sense that you have a connection with the spirits yourself. Does that make sense to you?
I think so.
But you may not always know who it is who is communicating with you. So know that you have spirits present with you, but you're not sure of the name, rank, and serial number, correct?
Well, I had gone can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you just perfectly well.
I had gone several years ago it was very strange, but I had never heard of this medium. And I was online and I saw a Groupon for some tickets that were left over for James. Oh, right now I'm very nervous because I've been feeling something now. I feel like I've been
Well, you know what? Judy,
buzzing that
Judy, hold on.
Okay.
Don't tell me anything more.
Okay.
Because what I would like to see is what the spirits might have to say for you. Is that all right? And you can let me know whether it resonates with you or not. Because the spirits don't care whether you are nervous. They're not nervous. Okay. So, let's see what they have to say.
Thank you.
But there is this sensitivity that you carry. And the challenge for you may very well be is you don't know when it's going to hit you. Do you know what I'm saying? You could be minding your own business, and then all of a sudden, especially if you are with people whose frequencies are higher, or people who have suffered great loss, it activates your empathetic soul. Does that make sense to you? So you are someone who lives in such empathy that as soon as you are with, and in fact, being with people in grief could be challenging for you. I mean, it might be difficult for you to be around people who have lost a lot because you feel so deeply. But have you been drawn to things like healing and even hospice and stuff like that?
Yes. In fact, I cannot believe you're saying that.
All right, because I see tremendous healing energy and power with you at the same time. So it's a double-edged sword. Does that make sense to you? It's your greatest gift, but it's also, oh my God, I have to get it right. I don't want to ever say anything wrong or lead people down the wrong path. Does that make sense to you?
I've been trying to figure out just where my niche really is going to be, because sometimes I feel like, well, I don't think I could do anything like this, but I have such a inner need to do it because I know it's there. I don't know.
There is no need
how I can do it.
There is no need for you to worry about your niche. And that goes with everybody here. When I first moved out to Los Angeles, I took every single class I could: palmistry, astrology, alchemy. I did everything. I studied everything I could about metaphysics. Now, I had always had a connection with spirit, but it had seemed to me to be a very difficult thing to be a medium. I wasn't sure I wanted to put myself out there. I thought, boy, at least if I have tarot cards, it's something for me to hold on to, So it was like a safety blanket. I could, suck my thumb and throw down the tarot cards. Well, sooner or later, the training wheels come off and we are launched into what we are to be doing. So do not worry about your niche. That's just not how the spirits partner with us. We get little bits of information and we act on that piece of information. And then we get the next piece and we are led moment by moment.
I think it's been very true for me that.
Okay, well then go with that. Go with what you know, because that's actually how the spirits work with us. People think because I'm a medium, I have an edge. Like I know how the story's gonna end. Guess what? I don't. Because the story doesn't end, number one. There is no end. And so all there is the way that we partner with spirit and we move forward. By the way, you have a mother who has passed, Judy?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Because there's a lady, is that a dining room behind you?
Yes.
She is laying the table out. So she either loves her dishes or her silverware. And, so she's doing up a grand table behind you.
Yes, now, that makes sense.
Okay. Now you have some of her glassware or dinnerware, do you not?
Yes.
But it's packed up, is it?
Well, that may be not my mother, but my husband's mother.
Okay. And so she may also be here. Now you have goblets of hers and dishware that are packed up.
Yes. That's my
She's
husband's
not,
mother.
yeah, she's not really happy about that. So we have dueling dishes going on. We have mother, and I'm also hearing the name Barb or Barbara, by the way. So I just want you to know that they're mentioning that name. And
Barbara,
also,
yes.
yeah, go ahead.
Barbara was a coworker and a member of our book club who passed about 3 years ago.
Okay, well, boy, do I like this lady. And plus, she really wants the tea. So she says, get out the tea. Apparently, you can't read a book without tea. I never knew that. But according to Barbara, you have to be drinking tea. Now, so Barbara is here with you as well, with your mother and mother-in-law. So they are all around the dining room table, and they are all getting on together, even if they didn't know each other. So I just want you to know that.
That's unbelievable.
So
this
I'm
was
also
her
hearing
house.
the name Dave or David, by the way. So who is that to you? Or Danny?
Well, Danielle is my daughter, but
your daughter. Okay, so that's your mother just saying hi. Okay.
Oh, and they used to call. Oh, well, my husband's mother used to call my daughter Danny.
Danny. Okay. Well, that's why I'm hearing Danny. Okay. So just know we've got two mothers. We've got mother-in-law. We've got grandma calling Danny, Danny. We've got Barbara here for you. Your house is full of loving spirits. And one of the ways that Barbara will work with you is that you will be reading books that will help you right now.
Yes.
See, Barbara is the one who's going to be guiding you at this moment in time. She will be the one who will take you to the books to read, to jog, sort of your interest, your curiosity, to give you the answers that you need. Barbara is your partner with that. That mother and mother-in-law are here to, it's like, use the dishes. We will be there, especially with holidays coming up. We have to have our dishes being used because this is about family. This is about enjoying each other. And your mother was exhausted, by the way, Judy, before she died. She was exhausted, she tells me.
Yes.
She could barely lift her head up off the pillow. She just wanted to close her eyes and just sleep her way to the other side. And that was really hard for a lady who was super busy like your mother. You understand? She had her finger in every pie. Mm-hmm. By the way, she's also showing me a pie with one of those little birds in it that lets the steam out. So do you actually own that? Do you have that, a little red one?
I will have to see. She used to have a lot of cookie cutters, and I do like to make pies, and she used to like to make pies.
Okay, because she's showing me this little bird thing you stick in a pie, and it lets the steam out. I wouldn't be surprised if it's in her stuff. Judy, let me move on, but I have to tell you that your loved ones in spirit remember who they are, and they remember who your daughter is as well, okay?
Thank you so much.
And love to you. Do not worry about your niche, okay? You will be guided to it. And may I leave you with that?
Thank you so much.
Okay, perfect. So what might be one of the ways that we can partner with spirit? Like, how does that happen? And one of the easiest ways to be present with spirits is to be grounded. I know a lot of people think that mediums are kind of airy-fairy weirdos, that we're in the clouds and we're floating around. And you know what? That's not an effective way to communicate with spirits or to travel the world or to write a book. So in order to be guided by the spirits, it's very important to be present in your body and be grounded. So one of the first things I'd like to share with you today is a way to be present and grounded. And it's even helpful in groups like this, where we have, 100 people watching and we have all of their spirits. Wave your hands if you're feeling a little I don't want to say dizzy, but just like, woo, if it's sort of throwing you off, yeah, that can happen. So what I'm going to do is put up a slide, which has a guided meditation for grounding. And we'll just do that together. Claire, if you could put up that slide, that would be great. And this is also in the book, by the way. So you can always buy the book and get it. You can take a screenshot of this as well. So sitting in your chair with your feet on the ground and your hands in your lap. I know that when we're doing these seminars, there's a feeling of wanting to sort of lean into your device or that kind of thing so you can see more clearly. But allow yourself to sit with your back straight and your feet on the floor. And imagine yourself at the base of a tree with your back to the tree and your feet at the roots. So just take a moment and allow yourself to sit at the base of the tree. And then imagine that you have roots growing from the base of your spine and the bottoms of your feet, entwining with the roots of the tree. If you feel yourself wandering a little bit, or if your grocery list or to-do list starts circling in your head, just become aware of your breath and bring your attention to your breath. And then once again, feel yourself at the base of the tree. And that's a key to any meditative experience. If you feel yourself starting to wander and thoughts intruding, just return your attention to the breath. Allow yourself to feel heavy, drawn close to the earth. And as you sit quietly, allow the earth's energy to move up through your roots. And it may help to think of this as either energy or water or sap, just allowing that energy coming up from the roots all the way up your spine. Imagine that the branches and leaves of the tree are sheltering you, are protecting you, are reaching down to hug you. Allow yourself to sit in this space and in this energy, noticing any differences in the way you feel. Once you feel grounded, protected, and peaceful, visualize your roots gently falling off your body and feel yourself sitting in your chair once again. So thank you so much for doing that. And Claire, you can let that slide go. And does anyone here feel any differently? Or did anyone have an experience? Feel free to type it into the chat. Because sometimes what happens is in that space, spirits may even show up. When I'm grounded and protected and I'm very present, and I'm breathing naturally, and I'm not running all of my stuff or my anxiety in my head, all of a sudden, it's amazing what can happen. Dawn, I'm glad that you find that this meditation is helpful. I walk in a cemetery every day. I know that might sound counterintuitive being a medium, but I can assure you that the spirits are with their loved ones. They're not hanging out waiting to speak with me. But that used to be an ancient oak grove where the cemetery is. And there are trees that are in that cemetery that are older than the cemetery is. And so every time I go there, I will sit at the base of the tree and I will just allow the branches to protect me and to bless the families of everyone who is buried in the cemetery and all the people who are missing the people that they love. Yes, so Patricia, Virginia, you feel the heart chakra opening. Absolutely. I mean, that is just naturally what happens because when we're grounded and when we're safe, our hearts open and we are ready to hear from the spirit. So not only is that in my book, but when I teach mediumship development workshops, grounding and protection is one of the first things I do with all students. So you can consider this a little bit of a crash course. Katie, may I come to you, please? All right. Yes, I think you know who I'm talking with. It just says, Katie, you've got glasses and you're sitting, I think, in front of a window. Okay, can we unmute Katie? Well, Katie, I'm going to start before they even unmute you because sometimes the spirits are like that. They don't want to wait. You know, we think we're impatient. Huh. You love animals, Katie, by the way, because I just have to tell you, there are lots of animals with you. So there is also the sense of a father or grandfather in spirit. You have a father who has passed, by the way? You know what? I'm going to move down to Valerie. Let's just see here. Because I think I may be speaking with Valerie.
Katie, I'm having trouble unmuting you, but if you want to try to unmute yourself, I allowed it to unmute yourself.
There we go. Okay, so there's Valerie. Hey. Okay, so you have a father who has passed, by the way, Valerie?
Yes.
Okay, and you also love the animals?
Yes.
Okay, so what happened was, Katie, I started with you, but it's interesting, Valerie on my screen is right below you. And sometimes the spirits stand in between, and I thought they were right at your chest level, but what they really were right over Valerie's head. So that's how it works. Like if you guys were sitting in on chairs in a ballroom, which is often how I do this, or you know, some sort of conference room, you two would be sitting one in front of the other, and sometimes the spirits would be in between you. So it's kind of similar. But Katie, I also want to ask you to listen, because sometimes what happens is I will be talking with two people at the same time. And Katie, you have a grandmother, by the way, on your mother's side who has passed?
Yes.
And were you close to her, by the way?
Yes.
Okay, because she is here. And who's the Mary, Katie?
Mary?
Yes, who is that to you?
My sister.
Your sister, because this lady just said Mary to me. So so that would be your sister, because your sister is still here on this earth plane, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, because she didn't say Mary is with me. Don't worry, Virginia. I mean, Valerie, I haven't forgotten about you. But, you know, it's just so funny because Katie's spirits were like, well, wait a minute, you can't leave her just yet. We're just getting started. So there may be religion in this family, Katie, with your grandmother and, you know, back on that side of the family. Does that make sense to you?
Not religious, no, but my grandmother was very spiritual.
Okay, because she shows up here with all of the saints and with the angels. So I just want you to know that even if she wasn't religious, she is showing up with iconic religious entities. So, so Mother Mary is even there with her. I know Mary is your sister's name, but Mother Mary is with your grandmother. So I just want to let you know, even though she may not have been religious, Catholic icons are showing up with her. Mm-hmm. So you may find yourself having an interest in some of that. Does that make sense to you? Are you drawn to the divine feminine, perhaps?
No.
Okay. Valerie, are you drawn to the divine feminine?
Yes.
Okay, so Katie, I'm going to move now down to Valerie, but take that as a hello from your grandmother, would you?
Okay.
And there is resonance between the two of you, and that often happens, that people who are, adjacent to one another, there are some similarities. So Valerie, what I would say is your mother's side of the family may have had some religion or religious background. Does
Yes.
that make sense to you?
Yes.
Because all of these religious icons are showing up here with you as well. So there is, and there may even be a Kathleen or a Katie in your family. I know this is weird because there's Katie that's above you, but your relatives are saying Katie to me, a Kathleen Katie.
Yes.
So you understand what I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
Yes. So do you see the resonance between Katie, who is on the screen, and your Katie as well, Valerie? So I just want to let you know. And you also have some Irish relatives, Valerie?
Yes.
And do you know if they came from County Clare?
I'm not certain which county.
Okay, and Wicklow? Those were two names that I heard.
Okay. I'll
So are you doing 23andMe or one of those?
Yes.
Okay, because the spirits just said to me, oh, she'll find out where we're from. Because she's doing that thing. And whenever they say that thing, and then they show me like a family tree icon, I know it's 23andMe or Ancestry.com. All right. So I heard County Clare and Wicklow. So I don't know if that's another county. There might also be some Welsh.
Yes.
Are you aware of some Welsh in the family?
Yes.
Because I all of a sudden saw people going into a mine.
Oh, interesting.
So that is interesting. So you like crystals, do you, Valerie?
Yes.
Because your family tree just said she likes crystals because we worked in the mine.
Oh my gosh.
So there's this idea of being connected with your family and these stones that come from the earth and the beauty. But you may have within you a desire to bring healing to the earth. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Because mining has done terrible things to the earth.
Yes.
And so I just want you to know, we were talking about partnering with spirits here, today. Like, how do we partner with spirits? Well, our own DNA draws us to the things that our spirits are asking us to heal, even in our DNA line. So where there may have been destruction of the earth, you are feeling drawn to appreciate the beauty of it.
Yes.
And transmuting the sorrow of the earth to joy. Does
Yes.
that make sense to you? I mean,
Yes.
you strike me as being one of these pagan women who could dance naked under the moon. I mean, there really is this connection with you with that. Does that make sense to you?
It does.
And I'm seeing Stonehenge and all of that. So, there really is this kind of Catholic, pagan joining with the divine feminine with you.
Yes.
So I just want you to know, now you don't know the retriever that has passed, do you? Or the Cavalier King Charles Spaniel?
There were dogs. I didn't know the names, the breeds.
Okay. Because there's a retriever dog, a water dog, but there's also a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, which looks a little bit like a white and tan Cocker Spaniel, but it's a little bit more rare. Are you aware? Do you remember that dog?
I think that was my mother's dog when she was young.
Okay, so and your mother has passed, is she not?
Yes.
Because I think she's sending the dog in first to make sure that this is okay to do. It's like, go ahead, try it. All right. Now, your mother comes in here with books. So books are piling up around her.
Yes.
So she may have been one heck of a reader,
Yes.
and you may also be a reader. Does that
Yes.
make sense to you?
Yes.
So your mother, I feel like all of a sudden we've got Judy's friend Barbara horning in here with Valerie. You know, we've got the book club in the afterlife showing up here, but there's the idea of knowledge.
Yes.
You know, we want to know, how do we partner with the spirits? And knowledge is very important to that.
Yes.
Educating ourselves about all sorts of different things. You know, when I'm working with students, I will say to them, if you want to recognize perfumes of people, of spirits, you know, let's say a spirit wants to give you a favorite perfume.
Yes.
You better go to Bloomingdale's and sniff some of the perfume. You know, so we have to have within our toolbox things for the spirits to work with. So, yes. Valerie, my feeling is right now you are gathering things in your toolbox.
Yes, I am.
You know, you are exploring all sorts of aspects of the divine feminine. Yes. And I feel as though this is also throughout history and also throughout different religions. Does that make sense to you?
It does.
So, because I just saw that Venus of Willendorf. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
That chunky little goddess that I love so well, who I do think was modeled after me. Or at least I will call her to be my own. But I'm seeing her, but I am also seeing Asian, like I'm seeing Kuan Yin.
Yes.
Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay, so there's also a Tibetan side to you and what you're doing there. So Nepal, Tibet, Mount Everest. So you understand there are all of these aspects. And Valerie, have you considered that you may have lived these religions in other lives?
Yes.
Because that's what I'm seeing. Not only am I seeing a family tree with you, I am seeing a reincarnation tree with you. I'm getting chills as I feel this. You know, I mean, it's just because I've never actually seen this before. This is the first time they're showing it to me in this way. And what is intriguing about it is most family trees are this begats this, you know, they begat that. You know what I'm saying? It's all organized like this. Your spiritual reincarnation tree isn't like that. And the reason is that those lives don't stay in the past, that they are current with you. And you're almost experiencing them all at the same time. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
So in a sense, your reincarnation tree looks like an advent calendar where it's like there's a number and I open the door and there's a past life, or then I go here and I open a door. So I feel like you have been meeting people, opening doors, trying this, doing that, and oh, there's a past life, and oh, I feel like I lived during that time, and oh, I think I was a nun.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You were a nun a number of times, by the way. I just want you to know it wasn't just once. Poor you. But have you also believed that you cannot wear turtlenecks or you don't like things that are tight around your neck?
Yes.
Because I just heard that you passed that way as a witch.
Yes, I did.
Oh, you did know that already. Yes, well, then I'm not telling you anything you don't know.
Oh, but I appreciate the validation. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, it's helpful because you and I have not had a conversation about that, I don't think, right? Yeah, no. So, so that's helpful for you to know. That's what I'm saying. These past lives are not past. They're very present with you. And so what this time is for you is really coming to terms with all of the aspects of yourself and how to Cuisinart them together into a homogeneous self that you can move forward in the world right now. Does that make sense? So that you don't feel quite as fragmented?
Yes.
Okay, Because it really might feel as though you've lived a life, and you've done this in this life. Like there's this one and this one and this one and this one. And, I got to go to Machu Picchu and I got to go to Thailand. And, I better go to Paris and climb the Eiffel Tower. You really may have been driving yourself insane with your past lives. So guess what? Just sit, because you are already homogenized. And the life that you need to draw on is already present with you. Yes. And so the energy of it may ramp up at that moment. And if there's a healing that needs to take place in that life, it will take place in the present one as well. So this is the thing. You don't have to worry, just like we don't have to worry about our niche. We don't have to worry about our past life. Yes. Or lives, of which there may be many. Just know that they're all with you. And as something needs healing, or as something needs attention, or as something can help you, boom, it will show up. All right. So just know that, Valerie, you don't have to drive yourself crazy. And your mother is here, by the way. She was really quite beautiful when she was young, your mother. Sure.
Yes.
Really very, very lovely. And did she want you to play piano? Because all of a sudden she rolled a piano out here.
I wanted to play piano. We didn't have one.
Okay. Well, she just rolled out a piano for you. All right. So this is her way of saying, you know what? You can always play the piano, because once again, that may be something from a past life. You may find that you sit down to a piano and it's like you've been playing all of your life.
Yes.
All right. So just know that. May I leave you with that, my dear Valerie?
Thank you so much. What a privilege to get these messages through you.
Wasn't that interesting? So that's the other thing, is that you can see how each message is very different. It's not one size fits all, is it? It's really kind of intriguing. And so this is the thing that's important to know as we're partnering with spirit moving forward. It's not one size fits all. The spirits will work with you where your greatest gifts are, or where your interests are, because often our interests and our gifts and our abilities and our talents are the same thing. So for instance, I have never wanted to be a baseball player. I probably could not hit a ball to save my life. I don't have the talent or the interest. So guess what? I never had the thought that I was going to play for, the big leagues. So if you want to know how spirit's going to partner with you, just take a look at what you enjoy doing. Just take a look at where your talents may lie. And even like Valerie, you may have a desire to do something, and maybe life has held you back in some way. Well, what I'm hearing with people right now, because our lives have changed so much, people aren't willing to waste any more time. They kind of want to just give it a try. So this is now an opportunity to begin to explore some of those things. Now I'm going to take a little bit of a gander at some of these questions. So someone asked here if I can locate a cousin. I don't do missing persons. And some of that is, some of it is people are really choosing to be lost. And I'm not saying that that's the case with your cousin. But also, if someone has passed and they were lost before they passed, I have spoken with people like that. I had a young man not too long ago who had a father come through for him, who went off to work one day. The guy was from Colombia, and his father went off to work one day and never came home. I mean, literally just disappeared. And then the same thing happened with other family members of his. And we were able to communicate with all of those family members because they wanted to make connection. But sometimes missing persons, and I will get these calls all the time. People will say, so-and-so is lost on Hawaii. Can you find her? unless a spirit tells me where someone is. It's usually best left to the people here on this earth plane. It's just not, it's not my niche. It's really not where the talent that I have is best used. Now, somebody wants to know about a suicide 35 years ago. Well, that's interesting. That's Leanne. By the way, who here has a Jim or a James who has passed, either with a suicide or accidental drug overdose? Jessica, may I come to you, please? You had a James who has passed?
Hi, it's Leanne. My dad passed away 35
Yes.
years ago.
Yes, but you didn't have someone who also passed with a drug overdose, did you?
My dad died from a prescription drug overdose.
Okay, because I was getting someone who passed with a drug overdose. You see,
Yes.
because it's not, as a medium, I can't say, I can't say, yes, I've got a suicide here for you, Leanne.
Yeah.
And I have to know that I'm getting it correct.
Yes.
Okay. And Jessica, you're also unmuted, correct?
I just did, Judy.
Great. And you've got a James who has passed, or a Jim?
Yes, both.
And did he have a great sense of humor? Because Leanne, I want to talk to both you and Jessica, because we may have some overlap here. So he had a good sense of humor, Jessica?
My grandfather did.
Okay, because I just want you to know there is someone who's cracking up all the spirits. So they are having a heck of a good time. Now, your grandfather wasn't also a drinker, was he?
I don't know.
Because I'm also smelling alcohol.
My dad
Leanne, because that was, I was going to say, is your father also a drinker, Leanne?
He was, yes.
Okay, so, and he could also be quite funny, correct?
Yeah.
He
yeah,
thought,
wait.
wait. He thought he was funny.
Yes,
your father.
yes, he did. Yes.
All right. He thought he was funnier than he was, whereas Jessica's grandfather was genuinely funny. There's a difference. But I just want you to know, all the spirits are laughing and having a good time.
My dad's there. You see my dad?
Yeah, well, you know what? Your dad has a full head of hair, he wants you to know. Very important. He has all of his hair. So, and you may have a picture of him as a young man with even pomaded hair. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, with it like pulled back with pomade. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
So he's a little bit of a dandy, your father.
Yes, yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, I don't want to go so far as to say that, maybe he's a ladies' man, but I just want you to know that
his name is Donald Trump.
What's
his name
that?
Is Donald Trump.
Oh, that's interesting. So
Donald C. Trump Jr.
Okay, well, he comes here really full of himself.
Yes.
So he's even turning back the time because he wants to be seen as the strong man that he thought himself to be.
Yes.
Now he's also there with a younger male. There's a younger male who has also passed in this family.
His younger brother just died a few months ago.
Okay, so he just wants you to know he is there with the younger one. Okay, so that's his younger brother who has passed. They are together. You understand?
Yes.
Okay.
My grandma, I don't know.
And who's Bill or William that they're mentioning?
Oh my gosh, that's my uncle, but he's alive. But
okay, well, they're just saying hello to him. Would you please say hello to him?
Yes.
Okay. So, well, now your grandmother's a very strong lady, is she not?
She is strong personality.
Strong-willed.
Quiet. She was quiet, confident.
Willed, right?
Yes. Yes.
Stubborn as the day is long.
Yeah.
Okay. And she tells me that you are also strong, but you don't believe you are.
Yeah.
And the other thing she says to me is that you have struggled with your own issues.
Yes, very
So
much
I
so.
don't know whether this is drinking or a drug interaction or something along those lines, but she lets me know you have been having your own struggles and you can beat this. You can do
I already
this.
have. Yeah, I have.
Okay.
I already have. It was drinking.
Okay. So you understand, you know, and it's not just something that's one and done. You get it. It's
Yes.
something that you will be taking care of for the rest of your life. And she says you can do this.
Well, and I just became a type 1 diabetic.
Okay. And
I'm struggling with that. That's
all
what
right.
happens.
She says, because she's giving me a lifelong thing. Like this is not something you're
That
going to
must
be
be
playing
it. Yeah.
around with. You
Yeah,
get this?
that's what it is.
All right.
Yeah, it's the type 1 diabetes that I just.
All right. You will be dealing with this for the rest of your life and you can do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So much love from your father. I
Really,
know
I spent 35 years. We were best friends, and it's all this time.
Well, you know, he just wasn't sure he was going to go that day. I just want you to know.
Yeah, I understand that too.
All right.
Because he tried it 3
not
times.
necessarily
He probably didn't know
his
if it was
plan.
gonna work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because this is not someone who would leave you. I just want you to know that. Okay. There's also a little black and white kitty. I just want you to know.
Oh my God, that's Bel Air. That's Bel Air.
Okay, so I just want you to know he's got the little black and white kitty with him too. All right.
Oh.
All of your loved ones are here, my dear. All of them. Okay. Blessings to you.
Thank you.
All right,
so
Jessica,
much.
may I come down? I haven't forgotten about you.
Fine.
So if you don't mind, I'll head on down here.
Okay.
You don't know of the brother who has passed, do you, Jessica?
No, I don't. I have a twin
Then
brother.
who's John?
I don't know. I only.
Okay, then I am going to move along. Hang on one second.
Yeah, not mine.
We may be, I'm just going to go to Janice. Do you know the John? Janice Lowe? Hey, Janice, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good. Do you know the John, by the way?
A John?
Or Joe?
A Joe? No.
Okay. Well, I'm still here with you because they brought me close to you. And
Okay.
you have been also really interested in life after death, you know, connecting with spirits, maybe even some shamanism. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I see Peruvian shamans with you and I see Machu Picchu, which is interesting because I was seeing that before. So, and also Native American shamanism. Does that make sense to you?
A little bit. Yeah. I mean, it's just sort of something that's kind of crossed through my path, especially these days.
Okay, well, just so you know, it's there or I wouldn't be able to see it. So it may be more real than you even think. So do not be surprised if more things show up for you. Now, you have a father who has passed, by the way, Janice?
I do. Yes.
And it's so funny. He stands behind you with his arms crossed.
That's
Almost
him.
like he cannot believe he is here.
I was thinking about him as you were speaking. He was very shut down, and this was his path. He was emotionally
Okay, do you
closed.
understand? This is why he's got his arms crossed, like he can't believe we're
Absolutely.
doing this.
Yes.
All
Yes,
right.
but I'm
Now the
thrilled
theme
he's
here
there.
today, is partnering with spirit.
Yes.
So this is all about him coming to terms with his own ability. Now he wasn't in the military at one point, was he?
He was. He was in the army.
Because all of a sudden people around him are saluting.
Oh.
Now, do you also know someone in the Vietnam War?
I do.
And they've also passed, by the way?
No, I know some, I don't know. if they
Okay, so
passed.
you know someone currently in the Vietnam War, but he is present on the earth plane.
Yes. Yes.
Then I do believe, and do you know of the John around that man?
You know, yeah, I think it was a neighbor that I used to take care of, whose
Okay.
mother died, and I was very close. I babysat for him for years.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I just want you to know that is showing up here because I know when I'm hearing something, I'm not making it up.
Okay. Yeah.
We may not know totally where it fits.
Yes.
But I
Wow.
just want you to know your partner on this spiritual journey is your dad.
Wow.
And so after by the way, all of a sudden with him, I couldn't breathe. Like my lungs were filling up with fluid and then my heart gave out. It was that feeling. Does that make sense with him, by the way?
Yeah, he died of esophageal cancer. He suffocated.
He
Yeah.
suffocated because I'm
Yeah.
like, I can't breathe, and my
Yeah.
heart gives out.
Yes.
So that's what he was giving me. He was giving me his death condition.
Yeah.
And it looked horrible, he tells me.
It was horrible.
It looked horrible and terrifying.
Yes.
And he wants you to know that it wasn't as terrifying for him as it was for you and everybody else. He was jumping in and out of his body in the last 3 days.
Yes.
So he wasn't always present. Do you understand that?
Yeah, it was the first time in 20 years that the 6 of his children got together in the hospital room and we stood by him for 3 days. It was a very
This
strange.
is why he's saying 3 days.
Yeah. Yep.
So he wants you all to know it looked awful.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't. It gave him the chance to visit with each of you. And so he was in and out of his body, standing with each of you.
Yes.
Okay, so I just want you to know. And at one point, he may have even looked at people because he gives me this feeling of a lucid moment.
Mm-hmm.
So he just wants you to know he is fine and he will indeed help you. He is also there with a baby that didn't make it in the family. So there's also a lost child, either that or a stillborn. So he is there with that child as well.
Wow. Wow.
So I just want you to know these children do not disappear. So may I leave you with that, my dear?
Yes. Thank you.
All right. So now, okay. So Janice asked, every time someone in our family dies, we see a new brown circle orb on the white wall next to the door chimes. What is this? We've painted over them repeatedly and they come right back. I've got to say, it might be time just not to paint over them, Janice. It's really interesting. I have seen within families that there are these signs. A friend of mine, every time someone in his family is going to die, someone knocks on the front door. Like there's a rat-a-tat, tat, 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 like knock, knock, who's there kind of thing on the front door. And sure enough, someone in the family dies. There are some families that have these kind of send-off rituals. We as humans are very ritualistic. And so these spots on a wall, and I'll give you an example. I think I even wrote about it in my book. But as a man was dying, he kept staring up into the corner of the room and he kept staring and staring. And when he spoke with me during a session for his wife who came to me, he said he was seeing his mother in the corner of the room and kept staring at her. And the wife was so delighted that his mother was there. Well, after the husband died, there was a spot on the wall. And, it's discolored the paint. And so what has occurred to me is that spirit creates such energy and heat can change the color of paint. And it can affect things like walls and such like that. So it may very well be an orb, because spirits will show up as orbs, often on cameras and things like that. But it may be almost like it was burned into the paint. And by the door chimes, I love that too, because spirits will often use chimes to let us know that they are around. So wind chimes, even when there's no wind, may chime. So I hope that that's helpful. let's see. Who will win the election? You know, that is really an interesting question. And I have been asking Spirit that, and I have not gotten an answer. So there are some, but what I will let you know is that no matter what happens, we have all agreed to be here at this time and at this place. And so we can make a difference in our world by loving one another and being present. So I just want to let you know that. I unfortunately do not, I don't know. I can't answer that. If I did, I'd be a news commentator. Oh, Leanne, I'm so glad you heard me on talk radio. I have been doing a lot of radio recently. So please, guys, you know, be with me on Facebook, visit my website. I have 2 upcoming book signings where I will also be doing messages as well. So I just want you to know always, whenever I show up, the spirits are there and they want to give messages. So it's rare for me to just talk all by myself because I don't have nearly the interesting things to say that they do, which is the reason why the book that I wrote, Everything You Wanted to Know About the Afterlife, but Were Afraid to Ask, answers the questions that people have asked me about life, death, spirits, and the afterlife, with lots of examples of messages from spirits and the way that we can partner with them. So let me see. I've got to see who else the spirits are bringing me to. Kim, there's a Kim Smith. May I come to you, please, Kim? How are you this evening?
I'm great, thank you.
Good. Well, thank you so much for being here, Kim. You have a bunch of spirits around you. And you also are a bit sensitive, are you not?
I think so.
Yeah, well, just by thinking so, you are. I see lots of energy going off around you. When I see that, there's an empath and a healer. So I just want you to know you have that capability. Do you feel things very deeply?
Yes, sometimes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, because that is the sign of, and you don't have psychic dreams, do you? Like you dream of things and they happen?
Not yet.
Okay, but do you feel that you're psychic?
Yes.
Like you have the sense that things are going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
And is it also tied in with anxiety?
No, that doesn't sound like me.
Okay. Then I have a spirit who dealt a lot with anxiety. I feel as though I'm going to move to mother's side of the family. So you have a mother who has passed, by the way?
Yes.
And she had a lot of emotional ups and downs, your mother?
Yes.
Because as I sit here with her, I feel like I'm going like this, like I'm going up and down and up and down. And so she had a lot to deal with in her life. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, very much.
And now, who is Elizabeth that she's mentioning?
A good friend of mine.
Okay, and she's currently here on this earth plane, this Elizabeth. So then your mother would be with her.
Okay.
That's why she's mentioning her name. Okay, so even though I'm speaking with your mother, you may even be thinking, I wonder how Elizabeth is doing.
Yes.
And you're right, isn't that the case? And so your mother's like, all right, let me tell her that Elizabeth is here so that I can get my word in, and then we'll talk to Elizabeth. All right, your mother isn't going to miss this opportunity to say hello to you, Kim. Are we clear about that?
Hi, Mom.
Right? Because your mother gives me the feeling she wasn't always able to be there for you the way she wanted to. She just couldn't be. And in some ways, you might have been the adult sometimes. Does that make sense? So you might be one of these super responsible people. That's what she lets me know. So if you say you're going to do something, you do it, correct?
Yep.
All right, that's what your mother says, that your word is so solid. And she wants you to know that she has understood now how to love herself. You
Oh,
see, your mother wasn't able to love herself, and she never really trusted other people. You understand that?
yes.
She always felt she was going to be left or abandoned, that
Mhm.
nobody was going to be there for her. Now, were you not able to be with her right at the end, your mother?
No, I was there.
Because she gives me this feeling of being terrified to die alone, just so you know. Now, the other thing is, oh, she didn't have some dementia as well, your mother.
Not that I'm aware of.
Then we have a lady with her who struggled with dementia. So this may even have been full-blown Alzheimer's. I just want you to know.
Okay.
So this is either a close friend of your mother's or a grandmother or someone she played cards with, because all of a sudden we have a card game going. So your mother's playing cards.
She loved that.
You also know someone who passed with the breast cancer, by the way?
Yes,
And that isn't Elizabeth, is it?
I think so. It's related.
Because Elizabeth just said, that's me. And she's also letting me know that it wasn't diagnosed until very close to the end, or, you know, it was sort of galloping along. Does that make sense to you?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm not even sure she was ignoring it. You know, it's not that necessarily, but she was okay going how she did. She wants you to know that, because for you, it seemed really wrong.
Yes.
Because for you, it seemed out of place, out of time, as though she was robbed from you.
Mm-hmm.
And she says she understands how you feel that way. But she wasn't always sure about this life, Elizabeth. It's so interesting how someone so full of life, because she's very full of life, but she also wasn't always sure about it. And she gives me the feeling that you were even more than a friend. You were a sister to her.
Yeah.
And that's how she sees it. That her life, that you really should have been sisters. And that her life was as good as it was in many ways because of you. So, and you weren't thinking of getting a tattoo, were you? She's showing me a tattoo.
No, that doesn't sound like me either.
Okay, do you know if she got the tattoo?
I don't
Or
know.
if she was tattooed?
I don't know. She might have been thinking it.
Because she's showing me a butterfly tattoo. So, so I don't know what that would be if it's not an actual tattoo. It looks like a tattoo, not just like a pretty butterfly flying. So you may figure out what that is, or a mutual friend may call you and say, I just got a butterfly tattoo.
Okay.
That would be Elizabeth. Now, you don't have to go to the dentist, do you? Elizabeth is talking about getting some teeth fixed.
I just went.
You just went. Okay. So she knows that you went to the dentist. She's bringing it up. So these are the very things, the everyday things that the two of you would speak about. Yeah. And so she wants you to know nothing has changed. She is still here with you. She's such a lovely person. I can understand how you feel that she was taken from you. So please know that she loves you. And your mother is not like this. Her afterlife experience is love, joy, and peace. She now knows how to love herself. So may I leave you with that?
Yes, thank you so much, Hollister.
Okay, you're so welcome. Now, since we're talking about partnering with spirit, I thought that I would lead you in another meditation, the spirit heart hug. So Claire, if we can get that up there. I mean, one of the greatest challenges with living how we are right now is feeling very isolated, one from another, as well as being isolated from our own loved ones in spirit. So, yep, that's not the one. Grounding and protection. We did have it. Oh, there we go. Spirit heart hug. Perfect. And once again, you can take a snapshot of this, but it is also in the book. And we are also in this meditation going to expand it beyond the spirits that we know and that we love. So join me in this spirited heart hug. So sitting upright in a straight back chair, your feet on the floor, your hands on your lap, palms facing up, close your eyes. And now think of someone that you love. If it's too painful to think of a person in spirit, think about a friend you currently have, or a pet, or someone who is being particularly supportive right now. Allow that feeling of love to fill your chest and radiate outward. Imagine that the person you're thinking of is receiving your love, that they are surrounded by it, and that they are filled with it. And then allow that love to expand beyond the two of you to everyone here on this call and everyone watching us on YouTube. Allow that love to expand to your town, to your state, to your country, to our neighboring countries, to the world, and expanding to encompass the world, the universe, the galaxies. Love keeps expanding. It isn't finite. And as we sit here in this expanded energy of love, we can feel the presence of the spirits that we love with us. And the interesting thing about love is as we expand love, love also returns to us. So that love encompassing the world, the universe, the galaxies, all that is, begins to circle back. And that love surrounds our earth, surrounds all the countries, our neighboring countries, our country, our states, our cities, our blocks, all of the people here and on YouTube, those we love in spirit who are sitting here with us. And that love returns to us. And just allow yourself to sit in that space, knowing that just as you have offered love, love is offered to you in return. Accept that love, allowing it to fill your heart. That is the spirited heart hug. So did anyone here have an experience? You can just type it in the chat box. Do you feel differently having done that? That is something you can do safely in your own home and be connected to everybody, either online or, and you know what else happens? You don't have to tell anybody that you're doing it, but do not be surprised if you get texts or if you get emails like, wow, I don't know, Tuesday at 2:00, I just felt great. You will be surprised at the effect that this can have in the world. Oh, Robin, I'm so glad you felt your brother, because that's what happens when we sit in that love. It is a meeting place. Love, joy, peace. That is the space that the spirits inhabit. That's the frequency that they inhabit. So I want to thank you all so much for being here with me this evening. Do not be a stranger. I'm on Facebook and I do Facebook Live events. I have a Facebook Live event coming up where I will be talking about the light side of Halloween. So how we can connect with loved ones in spirit and change the rituals around Halloween to foster spirit communication. So join me on Facebook. I have a free email newsletter as well. So feel free to sign up for that. I also have a 20% discount on the book that just came out through my publisher. So Claire, if we could put that slide up for everyone so that they can see how to get their discount, that would be great. And it's also available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Plus this month, I do have 2 book signings coming up, which will be events like this where I'm giving messages and things like that. So you can find out more about that on my website. I have private sessions available, spirit circles. I am a working medium who loves what she does. So if you liked what we did here tonight, don't be a stranger, because I have classes online. I'm going to be teaching mediumship development workshops online as well. We can partner with the spirits in our lives. This is now the time to do that. So Judy, I don't know if you have any closing words. I just want to thank you all so much for having me here today. It was really, gosh, I just love talking to the spirits.
Hollister, as always, this was amazing. And a lot of people are saying the same thing and just feeling, especially with that last meditation, just feeling that love encompassing everyone. And I mean, I don't know about everybody else. I feel really grounded and expanded at the same time. I feel really just, my heart is full. And so I want to thank you again for being here and for just bringing through those words that I think are really helpful and healing and positive and hopeful. So
wonderful. And know that the spirits are here with us. My spirits are with me, your spirits are with you, and they are helping us to navigate this time. And they're partnering with us in nothing short of transformation. We are meant to be here at this time. So lots of love and kindness, joy and peace to all of you. Let's not be strangers. Thanks so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Here. See you next time, okay? Stay safe, stay healthy.